A blind item is a news story, typically in a gossip column, in which the details of the matter are reported, while the identities of the people involved are not revealed. I've done this blind item before, but since being deplatformed, I don't have a copy of it anymore, because it didn't process right on BitChute. So we're gonna do it again. From crazydaysandnights.net, Thursday, July 5, 2018. Blind item reveal number 6, from February 13, 2018. Today's blind items: direct this. I think it is possible that I may have found a director who is even worse than the Oscar-winning A-plus list director that has been in the space frequently, or even Woody Allen. The director of which I am speaking is an Oscar winner, but not for what you might think. It is shocking, actually, he does not have more Oscar wins. I do hope this is in some small part due to his raping and abusing women throughout his career. Although the number of actresses he abused is in the dozens, I'm going to focus on just a few of his more notorious crimes. He raped 3 tweens during a casting process and gave the role to the tween he said was the one who was the best in bed. He later ordered her to sleep with a much older foreign-born co-star on the movie who would go on to have an A-list career. That co-star injured her severely and production had to be stopped for a week to allow her to recover. The director kept her around for a couple years under the guise of getting her more roles. But the real reason was he could send her out to find other tweens and early teens to bring back to his place where he could get them drunk or slip them drugs and rape them. He often filmed these rapes and would film the actress with the other tween and teen females. In the movie for which he is most famous, he had friends of one of his children come to the set with the child. All of the friends were probably no older than 7 or 8. He molested a dozen of them, at least, during the filming of the movie, and filmed many of them. When he died, there were hundreds of hours of footage, which was some of the most extreme versions of child porn anywhere. And the clues. Number 1. Director is an Oscar winner, but not for what you'd expect. Number 2. It's shocking that he hasn't won more Oscars. Number 3. He raped 3 tweens during casting and gave the role to the best. Number 4. He made her sleep with a much older co-star who went on to have an A-list career. Number 5. Director kept her around for a couple of years under the guise of getting her more movie roles. Number 6. The movie for which he is most famous, he had friends of one of his children come to the set with the child. All of the friends were probably no older than 7 or 8.
Broadway at dusk, and as the lights go on, the News of the Day camera records the welcome for Lolita, the film the whole town's talking about. Introducing Sue Lyon in the title role and starring James Mason, Shelley Winters, and Peter Sellers.
Miss Lyon, how old were you when you were picked for this picture of Mr. Kubrick?
I was 14.
How did it come about?
Well, I had done some small television parts, and my agent sent me on an interview for the part to Mr. London, who was a casting director for Mr. Harris and Mr. Kubrick. And he liked me, and so he sent me up to see them.
Did you know what the story was about?
Yes, I did. My mother had read the book, and we discussed the story. And she knew of their previous work. She knew that Mr. Harris and Mr. Kubrick do very artful pictures, and that they are not a quickie film company. She had quite a bit of faith in them.
And this face, I think, wasn't disturbed. Did you work in a facile way, in an easy way?
In an easy way?
Mr. Kubrick?
Yes, very easy. There was never any pressure while making the picture. Everyone was very happy and very at ease.
There is acclaim in the film world for Stanley Kubrick, director of Lolita, arriving with Mrs. Kubrick.
I went on an interview to Stanley, Kubrick, and Jimmy Harris. And I had been told it was for a television series. And I went in, and usually in Hollywood, when you go on interviews, they say, hello, what's your name? Thank you very much, goodbye. These two said things like, where do you date? Where do you go? What do you do? What time do you come home? What does your mother think of that? Where did you buy that dress? They asked me questions that, I would have to answer, that I did answer. And so they kept me in there for a whole hour. It was amazing. So when I left, I was walking out and I ran into a girlfriend of mine who also went on all the same interviews. And she said, "What's it like?" I said, "I don't know. I don't know what those guys are doing, but it's a whole lot of fun. You might as well just go anyway." But I didn't think they were making a film. I thought they were just amusing themselves. I was 14.
And now, Sue Lyon and James Mason. The capable young actress, who was 14 when she received the nod to play the title role in Lolita, shares the plaudits of the critics and movie fans with Mr. Mason, a veteran of many great starring performances. Broadway welcomes another hit for the big theater screen.
Number 1, director is an Oscar winner, but not for what you'd expect. And number 2, it's shocking that he hasn't won more Oscars. Stanley Kubrick is an Oscar winner for special effects for 2001, A Space Odyssey, and that's the only Oscar he would win. Number 3, he raped 3 tweens during casting and gave the role to the best one. I only included this as a clue because almost 800 girls auditioned for the role of Lolita. So he definitely had plenty to choose from. Number 4, he made her sleep with much older co-star, who went on to have an A-list career. It was later revealed to be Peter Sellers.
Listen, didn't you have a daughter? Didn't you have a daughter with a lovely name? Yeah, a lovely, what was it now? A lovely lyrical, lilting name like,
Lolita.
Lolita, that's right.
Number 5, director kept her around for a couple of years under the guise of getting her more roles.
What are you doing now?
Now we're touring with Lolita, and we are going from country to country.
Are you expecting to go on being an actress?
I think so, yes. Well, I have a 5-year contract. I have a 7-year contract with Harris Kubrick. There will be 5 years left. And they make the decisions from now on. Mr. Harris is reading properties now, looking for something for me to do. And when he finds it, then we'll be making another picture.
Also, I pointed out to them, I said, you've made a tremendous amount of money off of me. And I think you owe me the respect to be who I am. I did your movie, and now I need to get on with the rest of my life. I'll be happy to work again, but not every second. So I did I did promotion tours for them that went on, I can't remember if it was 1 year or 2 years. Then Night of the Iguana had more promotion tours where I had to travel all over the world. This is not my idea of a good time. I hate the spotlight. I hate people looking at me. I don't like strangers asking me questions. I like to be left alone, really. I enjoy my security, my safeness with a private life.
That's why we had so much trouble to find you, maybe.
Maybe. It's not that I'm hiding anything.
Number 6, movie for which he is most famous, he had friends of one of his children come to the set with the child. All of the friends were probably no older than 7 or 8. Vivian Kubrick, his daughter, born 1960, actually played Squirt, Dr. Floyd's daughter, in 2001, A Space Odyssey, his biggest movie.
Hello. How are you, Squirt? What are you doing?
Space Odyssey came out in 1968, which means she would have been around 8.
Sue went on to lead a tragic life, and she blamed much of her troubles on the experiences she had behind the scenes of Lolita.
And thank you to a girl for pointing this out to me. The dark side of Lolita. Sue Lyon was 14 when she starred in the film. The producers slept with her anyway. October 24, 2020, in 1996, following the announcement of Adrian Lynn's new film adaptation of Lolita, Sue Lyon, the star of Stanley Kubrick's 1962 film, broke many years of press silence. Lyon, a year younger than the new Lolita, 15-year-old Dominique Swain, when she played the part, said, quote, "My destruction as a person dates from that movie. Lolita exposed me to temptations no girl of that age should undergo. I defy any pretty girl, rocketed to stardom at 14 in a sex nymphette role, to stay on a level path thereafter. Lolita made Lyon a star. It was also the beginning of an undoing. Her future included decades of mental instability, 5 marriages, a child she would end up abandoning, and protracted physical decline, culminating in her death at 73 in 2019. Though Lyon credited the early stardom for her own destruction, it's long been rumored that what occurred during filming and what broke her was a sexual relationship with the film's producer, James B. Harris.
The stepfather is no hero, and his obsessive pursuit of his underage stepdaughter is played for ridicule and laughs. But the film's humor was likely lost on producer James Harris, who was mirroring the actions of the character behind the scenes with his pursuit of Sue Lyon herself. Sue became involved in an affair with James sometime during Lolita's production. Sources vary whether they became involved during the time the movie was being filmed or closer to its release, which would make her somewhere between the ages of 14 and 16. James was in his 30s, and friends of Sue recalled he looked old enough to be her grandfather. James apparently took her virginity. Despite the fact Sue and James never married, their romantic relationship was mentioned in a newspaper article around the time of Lolita's premiere. Like the film itself, the article kept from referencing the problematic relation too explicitly, though it did mention the two had been spending a lot of time together. At the time of the film's premiere, Sue was 16 and James was 33.
But before I did the screen test, my mother told me the whole story and made it very clear so that I would know what was going on. And she wanted to make sure I didn't have any problems with that. Mother was very protective of my feelings.
And you didn't have any problems with it?
No, I didn't have any problems with that. I mean, it wasn't like I had to do it. It was only a movie. You know, I didn't have to have an affair with an old man. I just had to make a movie about it, so...